All right. Well, welcome to the round table. I'm your host, Sandy Powell, and I have a live audience today. Welcome, everybody, to the round table. Wonderful. We have a special show today. We have the mother-daughter in honor of Mother's Day today. And we're going to talk with my special guest here, my daughter, Nicole,
Yes.
Christian. And we're going to answer some questions and ask some questions of each other and maybe get some understanding to some of the people who are watching and to some of our people here that are in the audience. So y'all ready to do this? Well, what I did is I had some questions that were asked of the audience, and so we're going to answer those questions and then try to create some dialogue with everybody. So our first question, I'm going to just randomly pick one. It says here, how do you express to your mother that you want a mother-daughter relationship and not a friend relationship? That
That's
sounds
me.
like a you question.
Well, I didn't have the opportunity to express that, to be honest, because my mother was very upfront about her not being my friend
Right.
early on.
Early on.
So we didn't have a friend relationship. We don't have one. We have a mother-daughter and strictly that. And like I said, I think that's just because my mom instilled in us, I'm not your friend. I'm not one of your little friends. You're not gonna talk to me like you. I'm one of your little friends. I'm your mama. And so that respect, meter was given at the beginning.
Right. I also want to say to that question that sometimes with friendship, I think we mix friendship but with being harmonious. See,
Right.
Nicole and I are harmonious. We get along. We see eye to eye on a lot of things, but that's because we have the same upbringing, same environments, and so we're kind of bred in the same way. But the friendship, I think, is where I kept it separate, is because there's things in my life that I need a friend, and she's not going to be able to cater to me in that way. Friendship should be a coming and going, a road that you can travel up and down.
Right.
And there's some places in my life that she can't travel as a daughter.
Right.
I need a friend, someone who can go up and down that road with me. And so she's limited as to what she'll be able to bring to me as a friend. So that's why with mother and daughter, I believe, now this is just the round table. This is just my thought theories. Mother and daughter, fathers and sons, friendship is not, I believe, the right word that should be used.
And honestly, to me, I'm not even able to handle that
Right.
thing, because if something is going on with you or you're dealing with something, I don't know nothing else to do but cry. 'Cause my mama is bothered. So what do I do with that? I don't
Right.
know how to handle that. So
Right.
just,
Outside of trying to fight.
yeah, that's it. That's
And
my
so-
next course of action.
My friend would probably be able to give me some wisdom as to how to deal with it. She'll be coming from an emotional side of it. That's my mama. I don't
Who's
want my
bothering my
hurt.
mama?
Who's bothering
Right.
my mama? Yeah, so she ready to do something different.
Yeah.
And so also too, it may be in something that's personal with my spouse and I, that I don't want to contaminate her with about
Right.
her father. And so therefore, I need a friend and not a daughter to be that person that I bounce off
Right.
of. So find you a friend, mama. Find you a friend, daughter, and let your mother and your relationship be harmonious and not necessarily friendship. Good?
Good.
Okay. Well, the second part of this person's question is, how do you explain to a child that the parents' relationship did not work out, but yet still want to maintain under the same bring up as the children, being with one accord, not playing the parents against each other?
Go ahead, mama.
This is obviously, I'm thinking that the parents didn't make it. That's what I think the question is. The parents didn't make it, and they're separated or divorced in some way. And now they want to know, how do you keep the children from playing the parents against each other, I think is the question. Be parents. There's no other. I think a lot of times in those type of relationships, the parents are trying to prove to the kids, it's not me. It's her or it's him. And so they play the game of blame, or they play the game of, I'm the good parent, she's the bad parent, or he's the bad parent. And so therefore, they play the kids as pawns on their little game of chess or whatever, and then the children realize that, and so they start to play up to that as well to get what they want.
Right.
Who's going to be the best parent to me? Who's going to treat me the best so that I can call you the good parent and this is the mean parent over here? And so we start playing again. Just be a parent. That's that friendship thing. I don't need a friend in my children. I just need my kids to do what I need them to do. Let me teach you what I need to teach you, and I don't need you to be my friend. So if you're mad right now, that's okay. I'm going to be all right with that. But in the meantime, and a lot of times I kept the kids out of parent stuff. I don't send messages through my kids to their father in those type of situations. Speak grown up to grown up.
Right.
Keep kids out of the middle of it. That's my thought.
On the flip side, as far as from the child's point of view, it confuses us. And I know for me and my brother, when you and our biological father went through a divorce, that did happen from the other side, and it confused us as far as it had us picking a side that wasn't a good side. And we didn't find that out until later on that we had picked the wrong side. We had been bamboozled. And then it creates an animosity between us and him because of that. And so it's just best to kind of keep whatever issues between the parents and the children out of it completely. And I respect her totally for that, because I know that it got ugly at times between her and my biological father, but I have never heard her say bad things about him. Like,
don't talk to your dad.
She never said things like, don't talk to your daddy, he ain't no good, she might say he did something crazy, but, not nothing like, he's not a good person or anything like that, so, yeah.
And then also in that same vein, you can't pick your parents.
Right.
I mean, the parents are who they are. And so the best thing you can do is try to foster the best relationship you can with the parent and the child, and leave your relationship out of it. Parenting has nothing to do with husband and wife situations. That's just, it's totally two separate relationships, and they should be treated as such. And in that way, you'll help your children as opposed to trying to have the one-up. Most of the time in separation and divorce, it's about trying to have the one-up.
Right.
And if you get real grown and get mature in this area, you won't worry about the one-up. You'll worry more about what's best for the child, and just be done with that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't have any reason to that.
That's good.
Okay, this question here says, when you have a child that shows extra aggression, how do you deal with that situation, or what could be done?
Which one of your children was extra aggressive?
Well, you're a little bit aggressive.
I know.
But it's called, to me, it depends on the age and what this child is. If this is a smaller child, I'm talking about a little kid or something like that, and they're showing aggression, I would say look for something else. It may be some issues going on.
Right.
It may be something happening to this child. It could be a reason why they're so angry and mad. There's got to be a source to it. And so you need to find out the source of to why this child is so aggressive. And the other thing is talk. Talk. Never get enough of conversation with your children. Make conversation a place of comfort, even when it's an uncomfortable situation.
Right.
Let them feel safe talking to you. Like, it may be a situation that, if you walked up on it, you might spank them, but if you want to know information about your children, don't let it feel like if I tell them, I'm going to be in trouble, and always keep your word in that. If you say, well, just tell me the truth, I just need to know the truth. There may be some consequences, but stick to your word as to what you said you're going to do pertaining to that situation. But with aggression, it comes from something. There's a root to it. And I would say really try to find out why this child is so aggressive, and try to curbing it is not going to help it if there's something going on with this child. And so I'm going to leave it right there. Try to find out why. Get to the root. Why, what, and look for triggers. Look for things like, what is this child showing anger toward or aggression toward? other persons, a particular person, or a particular time of the day, at night, during the day? Is it some specifics to it? Because normally, just in a general rule, kids just don't normally be aggressive like that. So it may be something going on. I just would look for something a little bit more than that. And because I'm not clinical, I don't want to give out too much information as to what you should do, and people are watching and saying, this is what I'm going to do. But I would say, talk to your babies.
Right.
That's
I
it?
agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. The other question here, let me get to another one. When your child do not want to receive from you, what do you do?
Okay, so there are times, or there have been times, that my mom has told me to do certain things, and I didn't want to receive them. Daughters, raise your hand if your mama tell you something you don't want to receive it.
Raise them high.
Let me see. Okay, so this is what, and this is where I say the key to a mother-daughter relationship is respect.
Right.
And it's respect from mother to daughter and respect from daughter to mother. So if my mom gives me advice on something, and 9 times out of 10, I probably don't follow the advice off front, up front. I don't follow it. Yeah. I'm one of those ones I got to kind of figure it out myself and then bump
It's called
my head.
scrape your head.
Right.
Scrape the head.
Right, that's me. So I have to do it, figure it out, and then come back like, remember that time you told me that I shouldn't have did it, and I did it anyway? Yeah, I realized I shouldn't have did it. So the good thing about Mom, though, is that when she sees me going down that path opposite of what she says, I don't hear a whole lot of, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what that means. The fussing that I see some mothers do. Some mothers, if they see their child going down a path, they fuss at them. I don't want you going down there. I told you that.
I'm too tired of it.
Right. My mama said scriptures a couple of times, back in the day, she did have to kick my door in a couple times, well, one time. But,
use that right foot. That's that strong foot. Kick it in.
But it was very few and far between when she had to do something. And most of the time it was because I didn't respect her. That particular, and I'm going to use that as an example.
Yeah.
The day she kicked in my door at my apartment was because she told me to bring her house key. And I was, trying to be all extra and was going to take all day to bring
front of her friends.
from my friends. And take all day to bring her house key. And so I learned that day, don't take all day to do something when she said to do it. But even with that, she just spoke when God told her to speak, and when God didn't tell her to speak, she didn't speak. So she allowed me to go down that path, allowed me to bump my head, allowed me to fall, allowed me to do all types of stuff. I mean, this woman didn't give me 50 cents.
Yeah.
I wanted a drink from the vending machine. But because I wasn't all the way right, she wouldn't support it. And that's the key. When you know your child is doing something or going down a path that you don't want them to go down, it's going to be, damnation on the other end, don't support it at all. And it comes across like, mean. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you, on this end of it, I appreciate it. That time I was smoking, so any little change I can get, I was trying to,
She's messing up that beautiful voice.
I was trying to, support my habit of smoking. And so my mom, I asked her I really wanted something to drink that day, but I asked her for something to drink at the vending machine. It was 50 cents. She's like, I'm not giving you nothing.
Not even 50
And at that time, I was mad. But I wasn't following her instructions. I wasn't following the things that she told me to do. And so it's like you get no support from me.
Right.
And I think that is important.
Yes, and because sometimes that love that we have for our children, our daughters, sometimes it comes where it's hard to pull back because you know the outcome of their decision.
Right.
The path that they're going. It's not a good place where they're headed. Joe Jack ain't no good. And you see it, and you're saying, what you have to do is you have to supersede your love for them, and always express this. I said, I love you. I always told her, I love you. And I always told her that there was safe haven here. There was a safe haven. You got a place to be. But as long as, like the prodigal son, as long as you want to be there, all I got is prayer. And then you just have to now trust God with what you feel like is your most precious cargo.
Right.
And then you have to just let it go. And especially when they're grown. Now, I'm talking in the sense of being a grown-up. You have to just allow them to make their choices and live with their consequences. In other words, like I do watch the kids now, but Nicole has 4 kids. But the weekends are mine.
Right.
I help her while she's working, while she's going to school. But it's a favor if she want to go to the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't go.
It's a favor. And then it's got to be like your brother and your sister, they can't watch them. It's got to be like there's no other way to do this.
And I don't feel like she has to.
Right.
I don't take that approach with her.
Right.
You're my mom. These are your grandkids. You supposed to watch. I don't
Right.
take that with
Right.
her. I appreciate the fact that she watches my kids during the week.
Right.
And so Mom knows I'll do everything I can to keep from coming over
Right.
there on the weekends.
But I
to
think
give
that
her her
happened.
time.
I think that happened because I didn't allow you to.
Right.
I didn't give you that place to where that could breed that.
Right.
That you would feel entitled.
Right.
That's my grandkids and I ought to be able to watch them because you want to now have a little freedom.
Right.
And so that's kind of like the trade-off. The consequences of not having your freedom is, you chose to have babies.
4 of them.
And so now you're a mom. So, yeah, it's so your time, you'll be free in about 20-something years. Yeah, it's coming. Just hold on. But as to this question, what do you do when your child doesn't receive from you and they're a minor?
Beat them.
Nicole said
That's
beat
what
'em.
I got.
But see, this is my thing. Minors, basically, if it's a life situation or something that you must do, okay, you just don't like it, but you're gonna do it.
Right.
There's no choice. I consider some things like if I say, well, I need you to do the laundry, okay? Let's just say they said do the laundry, and they say, well, I wanted to go with my friends to the game, but I'll do it first thing tomorrow. Okay, that's the deal. I can handle that. But when tomorrow comes, don't come with nothing else. Because while you and your friends was out having at the game or whatever, you don't come up with plan B for the next day. You can't go to plan B now because now you must now do what I asked you to do.
Right.
So there's some leeway that you can make with your children as far as not receiving from you or whatever. But there's some incidences as young people, there's just no choice. That's what the Bible says. Train your children. And sometimes your kids are just not going to like it. I didn't like it. When my mama told me to get up on Saturday morning, I want to watch Soul Train. Clean the house. I want to watch Soul Train. You're going to clean the house. And the thing is when you're giving advice, young people are just not going to want to hear what you got to say. I always thought my mom was old-fashioned and outdated and didn't know what she was talking about. She probably felt the same way about me, and when I gave her information, she felt like it was something she didn't necessarily want to receive. But we all get to this one point, like my mama say, this is my mama right here. Keep living. Eventually, your mind will mature, and you'll understand what your parent is trying to get you to understand about the situation.
Right.
So even though they're not able to receive it, a lot of times they're not mature enough to receive it. So until they're mature enough to receive it, do what I say.
Right.
as young people. And then at this age, well, okay, if you don't have to listen, but my mom say time will tell.
Right.
Yeah. You want to read the next question?
Yes. Let's see. How do you let go and keep your opinions to yourself?
As a mother?
As a mother. This is a good one.
This is the hardest thing. The hardest thing is to keep your mouth closed and keep your opinion to yourself. It really is. In some incidences, it's not always worth your opinion in some incidences. Some things, that I always call it preference. Some things it's just preference. You say, cut the tree down. And if I go get a buzz saw and go at it, if she want to get a paper knife and just start ching, 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 okay, as long as the tree come down. At the end of the day, we've completed what we both set out to do, right? So sometimes we mothers want our children to do it our way. And if it ain't being done our way, then we think it's being done wrong. And it's not necessarily being done wrong, it's just your preference. And it's a difference. And that's when you have to start categorizing it. Is this my preference, or is this going to be detrimental and cost them down the road? And if it's not going to cost them down the road, if it's going to take them an extra 30 minutes to do it or extra 2 days to do it, why do you care? Let them have it. You know, if they want to bleach their hair 3 different colors in the week, when they don't have none, loan them a wig. It's all good. That's not something I'm about to have a tiff about with her about. I'll give her my opinion. If I see her face get, like yesterday, this was funny. Yesterday, this is prime example. Nicole came in the house and showed, she's like a talker.
Hard to believe, I know.
She's a talker. So she come in the house and she's just fussing about something there about Carnell and cable. Carnell and cable. Let's just put it right there. So she's going in. Yetta, about this cable situation with her and Carnell and this cable. And so she's here, but she want me to get here. What are we talking about again?
It was serious.
Cable.
I worked all day.
And so I said to her, on the way out the door, I said, Nicole, it's just cable. She was like this and walked out the door like I ain't saying nothing. She got an attitude now because I didn't go there with her. Okay? Preference. I just not going to, you know what I'm saying? Everything I'm not going to dive in and jump and fall off the boat about it. Just be okay. So whoever this is, categorize. Is this life-changing? Going to cost them more than they are able to, pay down on the end of the road? Or is this just the way I've been doing it, and maybe I need to just let them figure out how they want to do it? Is that good? Good.
Let's go. We got time for one more question?
Yeah, we good. How do you deal with rebellion in a 16-year-old? Now, that's the good one.
That's why I picked it up so you could see it.
I think that kind of went back to what we talked about earlier. First, you have to recognize 16-year-olds. Y'all remember.
I was something.
We were something at 16 years old. At 16, you're starting to, feel your womanhood. And if you're cute, the boys are recognizing you, and so you're starting to, what they say, smell yourself. You don't have 3 boys that week tell you just got it going on. And
that's a good week. That was a good
that's
week.
a good week.
That was a good week at 16.
Yeah, 16. 3 of them.
That was a good week.
And so rebellion is a part of it. Teenagers, puberty. It's, if you look it up and define 16-year-old, it automatically says rebellion. The general rule. Now, every once in a while, you'll find this child that just landed out of heaven that don't give that kind of drama. But for the most part, generally speaking, this is just a part of it.
Right.
And what you have to do is find those places, pick your battles. Really just learn to pick your battles at 16. I'm not going to tolerate disrespect at all. From a 16-year-old, if you give this much, it will take this much. And if you give this much, a whole mile they'll take. You cannot have disrespect at all. My thing was when I would discipline them verbally, check them, you can't just stand in my face and have attitude.
You had to go somewhere.
Yeah, you can go into the room with that because, see, you just messing up my vibes right now. You just messing up my atmosphere. So until you feel better, because, see, we good. Till you feel better, you can go in your room and fix that. And then when you get done with whatever you got going on, then you can come back out and join the family.
3 days, God, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about.
And if you don't get it in 3 days, I promise you, God got something. He going to show it. And that would be my thing. They come in the room, Mom, please take this off of me. I'm not no hex person. What are you talking about take this off? That's your conscience. And I let them sit with their conscience. They're like, I got a hex machine or something. I'm gonna take this, here, Jay, take this off me, Mama.
Take this curse off me.
What are you saying? Point is, you let them sit with their reality. Let them sit with their thoughts, their decisions. You put the truth before them and let them sit with it. But at the end of the day, you're going to sit with it and you're not going to be disrespectful about it.
Right.
I believe in communicating with my children at that age. I believed in communicating with them. But once we got to a point, because you got to get to a point where this, decisions got to be made. Okay, but this is the decision I'm going to make. At that point, I expect for you to trust me enough as your parent to have made the best decision for you and now respect that. Got 2 more years and you'll do your own thing. How about that?
Yeah.
One more question.
One more.
We're going to take a break after this question. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
What are some tips of maintaining control when you feel overwhelmed as a parent?
Oh. You know what we're going to do? We're going to take a commercial break. Because this is going to take way too much time. We're going to be back for part 2 of what to do when you're overwhelmed as a parent. We'll be back.
Almighty God, today we are grateful. Grateful for your goodness in creating mothers. You gave them eyes to watch over us and ears to listen to our joys and struggles, our laughter and tears. You gave them legs to run to us when we fall and arms to pick us up again, to hold us as we cry, or cradle us while we sleep. You gave them hands to wipe away the tears, to brush the hair from our eyes and dirt from our faces, to hold when we're scared, or when we want to dance, or when we just need a little help. You gave them mouths to kiss away the pain, and voices to encourage and comfort, to pray with us and for us. You gave them minds full of ideas and wisdom, and hearts full of love. God, on this Mother's Day, bless our mothers. Give them your strength, peace, and love, so they may continue to give it away to all those around them.